Good morning, everyone. We're at the Mitchell County Board of Supervisors meeting. It's March 15th, 2022, 8:30 a.m. We have a agenda in front of us. I don't know if everybody's had a chance to look at it. I don't think there's any corrections to be done.
I'll approve it.
Steve made a motion to approve it. Todd has seconded it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Item 2, approve the minutes of the March 8th meeting. Those everybody have looked that over, and if there's any corrections. If not, you have a motion to approve? the
I'll make a
minutes?
motion to approve the March 8th.
Okay,
minutes.
Mark's made a motion to approve the minutes. Do I have a second? I will second it. So, any further discussion on that?
Roll call, Todd. Mark.
Aye.
Mike.
Aye.
Steve.
Aye.
Jim.
Aye.
Okay, moving on. Item number 3, we have the county attorney general discussion.
I don't
Morning.
think I have anything specific for you gentlemen today. I try to keep track of what people are waiting for me on. I don't think there's anything out there right now that somebody's waiting for me on.
Just 400th Street.
I thought I did that.
Not yet.
Didn't I send you paperwork? Okay, Rachel just reminded me there
Okay.
might be something. So anyway, so I'll look at that. I thought I did something, but anyway, that's what I just touch base. And like I said, if I lose track of something, I try to keep pretty close track of something. If I lose track of something, remind me, like Rachel just did. So I guess that's all I have, unless you guys have something for me.
Do you have any questions?
I have nothing.
All right,
Guess
I'll
not.
get on that, Rachel.
Okay.
I think I thought I did something.
Thank you.
Have a good one, Aaron.
Okay, moving on, we approve the sheriff's report for February.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
I have, January fees of $2,433.88.
Okay.
Move to approve.
Okay,
I will second.
all right, have a first and we have a second. Any further discussion on this?
Roll call, Mark.
Aye.
Mike.
Aye.
Steve.
Aye.
Jim.
Aye.
Todd.
So I just have 2 other points for you. The first one being, variance to identify the missing persons up on the Greenbelt Trail. We believe the trail is safe. We want, people to continue to use that. But the case is far from over, so we're gonna see some overtime through the rest of this budget year and who knows into next, to try and find out now what happened to the young lady and why she came to be in Mitchell County. And then secondly, Carl Salmon, the attorney for the county from Des Moines, I talked to him this week, asked me to check on Kephardt's property. I don't see any change out there. If you guys have been by there and my assessment's wrong, then reach out to Carl. Maybe the only change is that the appliances he's bringing in are newer than they were before.
Yeah.
But I don't see any significant change that would stop that progress or change what he's got going. So, other than that, I guess I don't have anything more.
Anybody have any questions?
My questions, but they are new. I was going by,
I
and he was
noticed.
unloading a couple of nice ones, looked like, but the roads were up. Yeah, I don't
Okay, that's all I
Okay.
have.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now we have a department head discussion. Is there any department heads that have anything to discuss? Here or online? Maybe having none, I guess we'll move on to item 6, county engineer update.
Morning.
Good morning.
Not a lot to discuss. We are taking wings off some of the motor graders today, this week. Middle of March, any snow we get now, we won't need to be getting too aggressive with them off the road. If we do need the wings, we've got the bowls yet. Working on some budget stuff to get the DOT budget finalized for April. And then also we're getting some pipe quotes in. Last year, we were kind of a little bit stingy on getting pipe, just because we were hoping prices would come down, and that didn't come to
It didn't
fruition.
work.
I mean, I don't know that they're a whole lot higher, but they're not a lot cheaper either. So we're getting some pipe, because we got some pipe work to do this year. And then finally, Dixon Construction's back in on Balsam Bridge, so I think the goal was this week to get some reinforcing steel placed in the deck. They've got some miscellaneous things to do on some of the formwork yet, and then hopefully next week, I think they might try to pour. We'll just see what the weather does there, and temperatures, but it sounds like end of March might be rather conducive to pouring some concrete, so we'll see how that looks. As far as the approaches yet, I don't think, I don't know when the frost will be out to do that work, but they're back in doing some work, so just so you guys are aware of that. And I think today we're getting a final walkthrough on the bridge up by the Wapsie with the DOT, so we're getting that closed out. So other than that, that's all I really got for you to report on this morning.
I had a question that was brought to my attention. I know the bridge on Monument Avenue,
Mm-hmm.
there, you said it could be pulled at any time a couple weeks ago, and now last week you said it's too late. So what happened?
No, it's
What
not
changed?
too late. It's
What-
not too late to pull the project, but we can't, if we take it out of the program now, there's a good chance it'll get posted or closed. So we need to get it fixed, so.
I thought that the only deal was it was narrow, but,
No, the last inspection yielded either you get it fixed or we're gonna have to post it or close it.
oh, okay,
so.
I didn't know that part.
No, that's what I thought I reported on last week, was it had to be, we couldn't take it out anymore because the last bridge report was not a good report for that.
Okay,
bridge,
I didn't
so.
think, I thought somebody asked you didn't have the bridge reports yet or something, so.
Oh, this was a couple weeks ago, we didn't have them, and then I got a preliminary one last week, and that's when I kinda came and said, we were gonna try to pull it, but we can't do it anymore.
Okay, I
We
know
can't
you
pull
said
it.
you can't do it anymore. I didn't know the reason, that it was
Yeah,
unsafe.
no, the bridge report,
So,
the preliminary report said that it's in bad shape, and
okay.
it either
Well, that
gets
makes
posted-
sense. I
yep,
just,
so
yeah.
we're gonna continue, and it's a good thing it's in there, because otherwise we'd have to try to scramble to try to do something.
To post it, that would be just one lane traffic or?
I don't even think I could even do that.
Oh, yeah.
They were either, I don't know if they said, I don't know what they said it could be posted at, or they would wanna close it, so I don't know how bad that really is. I don't, looking at it, I guess, going down there, there's some movement in some of the back walls, that they see some cracks are getting bigger, so I don't know what they would post it at, but it wouldn't be conducive to loaded truck traffic more than likely, so. And yeah, they could maybe do one lane, but it's already one lane the way it is, so it's not like there's two trucks meeting on it, so. We're just gonna continue on with getting it fixed and getting it out of the way, otherwise,
Yeah, if it's bad.
who knows how
I-
long we wait again, and then it just gets worse. We might just as well get it taken care of.
Yep.
So, I think what I might do what I think I'm gonna have to do on whether or not we have local funding or federal or state money on the bridge in 105, I think the key is to probably get the design going on it. I mean, the longer we wait to find out where the funding's at, if I wait until we know what funding is before we design it, then it's just, we might as well get the ball rolling, because we know we need to do something to it. So, I'm just gonna contact the consultant, get an agreement put together so we can get a bridge design for it, and then however we pay for it, we figure it out, or however we don't pay for it, it gets shelved. But either way, we gotta get a design going on it so we can so that when we get funding, or we know where the funding is at, we can pull the trigger and get it into a letting or into a program. So, I think we're just gonna start design on it now.
I haven't been up there since you put all the stop signs and the barricades for the one lane. Is it, what you have there, is it a road standard type
No.
one lane?
It's our temporary.
Okay, so I know you know this answer, but what kind of liability would we have if somebody got killed on that?
I'm not quite sure. I mean, we could have some, I guess it depends. Yeah, I mean, there are road standards for road closures. If we wanna do it the right way, like I had you guys give a quote for it,
Mhm.
that long-term closure could cost a lot of money. So, I mean, we've been doing it now because it was temporary and because it was wintertime, we can't get any paint on the ground or anything like that. But as the weather turns up, and if we're gonna keep it one lane, or we can do the temporary construction to kind of support it and get rid of it, but either way, we've got to get the design done, and it's still gonna cost us money, whether we do a temporary support until we get the bridge replaced, or we keep traffic control up, we're still spending the money. So the other option is to do, we'll get a standard road plan detail, and then we don't probably have all the equipment or the materials to do a standard closure like is required by the the standards, so we would have to pay a traffic control company to come and put that stuff up, so.
So you did say the deck was good, but the walls are bad?
Yeah, the deck's in decent shape, but the back walls are deteriorated, at least on the east side. That limestone wall is.
Is there a chance it can be raised up, new wall put under and set back down?
That was the original, thought about doing a repair,
Yep.
but, in order to do that, the costs compared to a new bridge are too close to even, and it's over a 60-year-old bridge, so to spend $500,000 to $600,000 to repair two back walls to raise an old deck versus putting a new abutment in and a new deck, the costs are probably, our money's better spent on a new bridge than to repair something that's got a 60-year-old deck on, or maybe not necessarily a 60-year-old deck, but an older deck on new foundations is great, and it's not saying that the deck is bad, but now we're gonna have an abutment that's gonna last 80 years and a deck that's gonna last you maybe 20 if we don't do anything with it. So then in 20 years, we throw more money at the bridge, we might as well just fix everything at once, walk away from it and be done with it for 80 years than to keep toying with the, and things are gonna keep getting more expensive. We might as well fix it now while the prices are where they're at. I mean, that's just my thought. My recommendation would be to just replace the bridge. We can try to salvage what we can, but in the long run, if we use the money, any repair we do has to last, I think a minimum of 10 years, which you can do, but just by the time you start jacking bridges up and taking the entire back walls out and everything else, you might just as well, the deck is another minimal cost compared to all the foundation work, so.
I bet the limestone abutments are sitting on rock.
Yep.
And if you took those out, a new design's probably gonna say you need to put H-pile to.
I think that on that end, we could do spread footing.
Okay.
So, because we know what's there now, they can design for spread footing versus H-pile. Like,
Okay.
the Balsam Bridge, the rock was in a goofy spot where we probably could have designed spread footing versus H-pile had the borings been a little bit more accurate, but they can design a spread footing. In fact, they're gonna have to do something, special on the east side because of the way that intersection turns. A normal bridge deck would have a approach span, then a main span over the water, and then another approach span, and then off. But the way that water comes in here, there's no room for an approach span on the east side, so it'll have to be a high abutment back wall, kind of like what we have up on the Wapsie there at the Y Bridge. And then the other side can probably be a standard bridge after that, but it's gonna be another unique structure that's gonna cost, they gave us the estimate of anywhere from $700,000 to $900,000. But you can't put much back in there, and if you're gonna spend $700,000 to $900,000 on a new bridge versus $400,000 to $500,000 or $600,000 on replacing abutments, you might just as well put the bridge in and be done. I don't know if I still have that.
Agreed.
I just think we're gonna spend so much time, let's avoid traffic issues. Let's just do it one time on that highway. It's not, so, I think, but we need to get going on a design so that whenever we decide, or whatever we decide with funding, we've got it, the bridge is ready to go whenever. Or, the design could be done and maybe some of this federal funding is available to us and we can just kick it right into a queue and maybe get some federal money out of it too, but we just don't know.
Yeah.
I do know, or at least I heard when I was up in Duluth, that they did sign the new transportation bill because of the war, so now maybe the money will come sooner than we think, but it's still gotta get past the president's desk and get signed, so. I think that's where we're at.
Okay. Anybody have any more
Yes.
questions?
I have a comment. A neighbor called just east of potholes on that gravel road. The north side of potholes and east, that's what, 385th? Somewhere's in that range.
Something like that.
Anyways, about a quarter mile east of potholes, there's a dip in the road, culvert goes across, they're grumbling about it. I says, the road's heaved, culvert ain't.
I'll look at it.
You
but it's
look at it.
Normal frost action.
I said I would bring this to your attention at today's meeting.
Because if we go dump rock in it, when it thaws out, we're gonna have a hump.
That's exactly, he says, can you put some rock in that so it ain't sitting? I says, well, the road will settle and that rock will be just cut out with a road grader here in a couple weeks. Oh, so.
All right.
You
Well,
have the
we're having it all
information.
over. I mean,
I'll
we got
let
big
you-
wide cracks and gravel roads now too. It's just,
Yeah, what are they gonna turn into?
well, hopefully they start closing. Well, traffic will need them back shut hopefully, but,
No, I'm not worried about the cracks, it's what the boils are going to do.
well, we'll see what the boils do, I guess.
Seems
Every
like
year's different.
Seems like the
Anyways,
roads are
I'll let you
spread.
do what you're
All
gonna
right.
do in that.
All right. Probably let Mother Nature take care of it, but we'll go out and see how bad it is. Maybe just put some flags up so people are aware there's a dip there, so.
Yeah,
All right,
All right.
thank you.
okay.
Thank you.
Anybody have anything else? Nope. All right. Okay, moving on, item 7, review and action on updated Mitchell County General
No,
Assistant.
That's not
Oh,
on number 8.
huh?
Or,
Oh.
Sorry, action on HVAC change order.
Number 7.
What about,
On the agenda.
I'm looking at the agenda. Item 7 I have. Number 7. Oh, well, it must be different on. Okay, my papers don't match. Okay, item 7, action on HVAC change order requests.
Okay, was contacted by Andrew, Midwest Engineering. So there's 3 change authorization requests that he'd sent, and I'll just go through them. There's 1, 2, and 3. We'll need to vote on each one of them. And these are all cost savings requests. So the first one eliminates the slipstream dehumidifiers, and it reuses the existing exhaust fans. Let's see. He says that, I won't get into too much. Anyway, we can save $32,400 with this change. Originally, they thought they would, when they come in to do the system, they'd replace all the fans to update everything. Well, they're thinking, well, in order to save some savings, they can reuse some of these fans. And also, some of this means you do not have to drill through that concrete ceiling that's there, which was a huge expense to it. So,
Oh,
so with this one, we can save $32,400. Any questions?
it doesn't compromise the efficiency of the system or anything, you're just reusing.
Just
some
reusing the fans, and so it says removing the dehumidifiers does not reduce your dehumidification capacity. However, we can it does reduce your dehumidification capacity. However, we can modify the control sequence of operation for the VFR controlling sequence to compensate for this.
Okay.
Meaning they can adjust the controls to compensate for it.
Okay, so were you asking for a motion now to make this change then?
We'll do one at a time, so I didn't know if there was questions, but, so I'll move we approve change authorization request number 1.
Okay.
Seconded.
Steve seconded it. Any further discussion on that?
Just out of curiosity, when you say adjust, is that like Dave, throughout the year, Dave could do that?
No,
Or is this just a one-time adjust, setting everything up?
I think it's in the control the computer control sequence that it'll be able to compensate for it. I think that's how it is. Yeah.
That's what I would guess.
Yeah. Do not know that answer,
Those fans 20 years old, huh?
probably.
How many is there?
But-
Is there?
I don't know that either, but I did ask him what happens if one of them goes bad, and he said it's not like they are antiquated and you can't,
You can just replace them.
yeah, they're not something that's never gonna be able to be purchased. You would just change them out when they fail.
A local contractor could probably do that.
Yeah, just a ventilation fan, yeah, I would guess.
I would
yes.
think so.
I would think so too.
There again, I don't know that for sure,
Yeah.
but I would think so.
Yep. Okay, we've had a motion and a second, and
Roll call, Jim,
Aye.
Steve,
Aye?
Mike,
aye,
Mark,
Right.
Todd.
okay, okay.
Okay, so the second one, this eliminates the branch circuit controller. And what it is there's There's a work release room, an adjacent conference storage room, and a laundry room. And the way they had it set up was that those would be zoned, so if one of them needed to have air conditioning and one of them needed to have heat, that was possible. But these areas are so close together that, and I don't know if the sheriff had to leave.
Just walked out.
He feels that these areas are so close together, that's not ever really gonna need to happen, and they could actually be on the same thermostat, so to speak. Heating as needed, cooling as needed. It's not like it's the comm center room where that's probably gonna need to be air conditioned in the winter and the rest of it heated, so these aren't like that. So he feels that we could save some money by changing that. Little more added to that. Both air handling units will be either in heating mode or cooling mode. They can continue to maintain their respective space temperature set points and not have the ability to be in heating mode and cooling mode. They're close together and they could have similar load profiles. Any questions?
And
And
they're
that's a-
probably not a high-end usage areas.
No, it's a work release classroom, an adjacent conference storage room, and a laundry, so it's not like people are really in there working.
Occupied, yeah,
Yeah,
not highly occupied, yes.
and this is a savings of $6,114. I can make a motion unless there's other questions.
I'd make a motion on that. to
You,
approve that.
you, okay?
Yes, I accept.
It's change authorization request 2 is what that is.
Okay,
I'll second that.
okay, Jim will second that. Any further discussion?
Roll call, Todd. Jim.
Aye.
Steve.
Aye.
Mike.
Aye.
Mark.
Right.
What was that, 6,100?
$6,114.
Okay. All right.
The third one is change authorization request 3, and it reduces the size of the 2 VFR condensing units. Originally, they were designed to be a 14-ton and a 12-ton units. Well, the manufacturer has looked it over when they bid this. The 14 and 12-ton were gonna run at about 80% capacity when they were running, and the manufacturer says you could actually reduce each of those down one step. They'll run closer to 100%, which is actually more efficient if they're running more in that range. So they recommend reducing the 14 down to a 12-ton and the 12 down to a 10-ton. And the savings on this is $4,200. Any questions?
That sounds like that makes sense. Makes sense, rather than have them short cycle, they'll run
Yeah.
longer.
Yep.
It's easier on the equipment too, yep.
I'll move to approve
Okay.
change authorization request number 3.
I'll second that. Steve, a second. Any further discussion? What would the cost savings be on that?
The cost savings of that one is $4,200.
4,200, okay.
And I didn't add all these up, but his adding was, all these together, we're gonna save $42,774.
Okay, that's, yep, so it looks like, okay.
Roll call, Mike.
Aye.
Todd. Jim.
Aye.
Mark.
Right.
Steve.
Aye.
And I have a
Sounds good.
question, Mark, to contact the insurance on
I
that?
sent that paper off to her.
Okay.
Going there Thursday for Heartland meeting, so make sure she got it.
Okay, very good. That was it, thank you.
Do you think there'll be any more coming down?
Oh,
or
I
not?
suppose that'll probably be
Might be when they start.
as they start really getting into the
Getting into
system.
it. Yep,
I don't know.
yeah, right,
But-
I just wondered if they.
Yeah, these are things that were obvious as far as after the bidding and the contractor got in there and started looking at things and
Yep,
the manufacturer, and so we'll see.
okay, yeah. maybe-
I hope so.
Yeah, maybe there can be some more
Mhm.
items that, as they go along.
You bet.
Okay. Thank you. Now, moving on to item 9.
8.
8. Well, my papers. My numbers are off on that one paper. Okay. Number 8, action on payment in lieu of taxes waiver request. I believe that was the one from last week,
Yeah.
correct?
So he sent me an email back. He said over the last 3 years, and what that was, there was this, the housing place in Osage, wanted to have us, it's called a pilot program where they make a payment in lieu of taxes. And, they said that they use that money to put back into the facility. Well, my question was, well, I'd like to kind of know what you've done to put into the facility rather than just make that statement. So I sent him an email. He replied back, said over the last 3 years, they've put new flooring in 7 of the units at $3,700 per install. They also replaced appliances in 7 of the units over the last 3 years at $1,400 per occurrence. They've got new gutters, which were $9,800. The last 24 months, they dug and replaced sewer lines out to the city access. And he says they've replaced water heaters in 7 of the units in the last 18 months at $500 per occurrence. So he answered our question.
Okay.
So they've spent way more than what they're going to get back,
Well,
or save in taxes.
$790.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Water heaters were in the last 18 months, and there one in there, what'd they say,
$500 occurrence in 7 of them, so $3,500 just there. But
This is, I think, something that's always been, their tax has always been
the way I understand.
forgiven
Mhm.
over the years, Rachel, probably, right?
It's just when somebody makes a comment like that, I just kind of sometimes want to know, well, okay,
Yeah.
I'd like to know if you have done that, and from what he has indicated, he has done that. They have done that.
So they've done some bigger improvements.
Mhm.
Okay.
I'll move to the motion that we made to the $709.
Todd has made a motion to waive the taxes. Do we have a second?
Second.
Jim has seconded. Any further discussion on that?
Roll call, Steve,
Aye.
Mark,
Aye.
Todd, Jim,
Aye.
Mike.
Aye. Okay, moving on. Items of note. Meetings attended.
I had a NICOG meeting last night, approved the agenda, approved the financials, and they're going to, they went over some new programs which are available for funding for people. Let me get that information to Sherry so she can pass it along to people. And they have a resolution that they're gonna buy some new buses. The resolution was passed. I guess that's pretty much it.
I had a Floyd Mitchell Chickasaw landfill meeting. That was on Thursday, March 10th. This was a full board meeting. Or, yeah. Anyways, approved the audit. We were audited. You're audited every year. They approved the audit. It was discussed and approved. We moved on down, approved the annual water report and financial assurance documents. And, also next, discuss the financial statements for February of 2022. We also had a discussion and decision on the time off policy for employees from PTO to vacation and sick time. That was passed. We had a discussion on the grant for a building improvement. And we had a discussion on treatment agreement for Mason City. We have to agree to do that, to have discuss becoming part of, or getting Mason City into our program. And this is the case, in an emergency, in case that Osage can't take our leachate, or Alma, who has refused to take it now because of our high numbers in our chemicals. Anyways, we'll at least have an emergency area to go to if we don't get the agreement with Charles City and Osage refuses us. Mason City has the higher limits. And then we also discussed a grant on the update for door-to-door pickup, in which the landfill will go around to people that can't get around to pick up their waste products and batteries and whatever. It'll be more of a convenience for people. It'll be, you know.
There'll be a landfill pickup
Yes,
truck that will be going
somebody
around.
from the landfill will drive, and again, it's not going to be something where if it's somebody in Lawler or wherever further out, it might be a little higher price than what the fee will be but it's gonna be a convenience for those that cannot get out to go to landfill. And then we had the director's report, and, meeting adjourned.
How much waste gets hauled out of there?
Oh, I should tell you that.
I'm just curious.
I have that for, last month of February, 2,109 tons was hauled to the landfill.
How much gets hauled to the waste treatment plant?
I can't answer that.
Weekly, monthly, or how do we do that?
Osage was taking, I think they're a tanker a day.
Tanker a day? That much, huh?
Yeah, leachate isn't something that, it's gotta be processed. But with the new equipment that they're using, as soon as the ice gets off the pond, they've got that aerator, and they have a machine that sprays the leachate up in the air. So it also evaporates it that way. And then once the ground thaws, they'll be able to pump it out back on top, where it will evaporate that way and saturate back into the ground, and I'm sure some of it ends up going back into the lower tiles and gets pumped out. But there's ways where you can get rid of that leachate on the warmer, drier times of the year. In the winter, it's the worst, and it's lucky for us that we're not having a lot of high water, rain.
The more rain you get, the more you get, I suppose.
The more water that comes from the sky soaks down through, comes out in the bottom tiles, which pumps out as leachate.
Okay.
So, I answered your question.
Yep, yeah, I was just, yep. Yep, thank you.
So, that was my meeting.
Okay. I had a conservation board meeting, and there's some people there from Wade Machen's family. They want to put a memorial sign on the Mitchell Blacktop by the Green Belt Trail access, because that was one of his favorite places to hunt pheasants. So I guess Adams contacted the family that donated the land, see if they'd have a problem with putting up a sign. And they talked about the pits and cabin. I guess they're going to run a hard wire up to it versus a generator or solar. That's at a cost of $25,000. So inexpensive, but, and they were getting some furnishings for it. And they did employee reviews. They talked about that some. And there's a environmental expo going to be June 17th and 18th that they're planning to be out at the Conservation Center, which will be like solar, wind, environmental things. So
What was the date of that?
Yep.
What was the date of that then?
June 17th and 18th. I know I went years ago with my kids. It was interesting.
It's like an all-day thing?
I probably, yeah. They didn't give me any times, but they had like when I went, they had like a solar thing, and the sun was shining, the solar would power this fan. And then when the sun went under and a cloud came, the wind would blow. Well, then the wind blew a small windmill, which would power the fan. So it was kind of interesting. They had a lot of other stuff too, but I just remember that part, you know, when it's sunny, the wind don't blow, when it's cloudy, the wind blows, so. Anyway, that was all I had.
I had nothing.
I had nothing.
Okay. Do we have any public comments? From anybody? Hearing none, I guess we have a motion to adjourn the meeting. Todd made a motion to adjourn. Do we have a second?
Second.
Steve is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, meeting adjourned. Thank you, everybody.